Welcome to the Black A History channel. Please share this video and subscribe to this channel for more captivating content. Kizlar Agha, which roughly translates to the chief black eunuch, was the title of the lead eunuch that served and guarded the imperial harem of women in the Ottoman Empire. The role was first established in 1574 and lasted for hundreds of years into the early 1800s. Agha means of the girls, and Kizlar likely refers to the eunuch's African ancestry. At the time, this position was considered one of the most important roles in the entire empire. The Kizlar Agha and the other appointed eunuchs cared for the royal harem, or the sultanate of women, which was a gathering of the sultan's wives and mothers of sultans past, who were able to have political agency within the legal matters and public policy in the sultanate. When a sultan died, his sons, which were sometimes children, would take the throne, meaning the sultan's mother could potentially have all the decision-making power. The eunuchs who worked beside the women within the Kizlar Agha would have immense political sway as well. Lower-ranking eunuchs were attendants, servants, and guards of the sultan's wives, mothers, and other politically important women of the kingdom. The higher-ranking eunuchs, including the Kizlar Agha, were able to work with the sultanate of women in making political decisions that were best for the sultan, his children, and the women involved. Interestingly enough, there was a racial divide between groups of eunuchs within the empire. Before the arrival of Kizlar Agha and his eunuch subordinates, white eunuchs, led by the white Kapi Agha, who originated in what is today countries like Greece, Yugoslavia, and Albania, were the empire's primary royal eunuchs. But when the Sultan Murad III created the position of Kizlar Agha in 1574, North and East African eunuchs working with the Kizlar Agha became the more powerful eunuch group. Habishi Mehmed Agha was the first Kizlar appointed by Murad III, immediately making him one of the most powerful individuals in the empire, ranking third highest in all political positions. Historians are still unclear as to why African eunuchs became the preferred group. The African eunuchs within the Ottoman Empire, including the most powerful, the Kizlar Agha, originated in North and East African countries, particularly Nilotic groups, from countries like present-day Ethiopia, Sudan, and southern Sudan. Some children were castrated at a young age, which was obviously extremely dangerous, and those who survived the awful procedure, which could be less than 10% of the children captured, were sold to the Ottoman Empire and would grow up in another land in this new role as a royal eunuch. Some men were castrated consensually as a means to enter the position, and some could have broken specific laws and were castrated as punishment, and could be recruited into royal eunuch duties later. A punishment by some nations within North Africa and surrounding areas for homosexual acts was castration, so indeed, some of these eunuchs would have been queer. In a previous video I released on the Ethiopian eunuch in the Bible, I discussed how many in the ancient world viewed the position of eunuch as intrinsically queer, and many historians have found more than enough testimony from men working throughout ancient kingdoms like Greece, India, Sumer, and many Islamic nations that eunuchs working with royal harems frequently had sex with men. Al-Hakam II was a powerful ruler of Cordoba in the late 1st century, a Muslim state ruled within present-day Spain that had territories and conflicts with the Moors in northern Africa. It is reported that Hakam was said to adore young men in his court. His own son and heir, Hissam, kept a male harem for himself. These are just a few examples of the many ruling men in Islamic kingdoms that openly had male harems and concubines. So it should be no stretch of the imagination that throughout the history of the Kizlar Agha position, that many of the men in this role and his subordinates were queer as well. Because the Kizlar Agha's countrymen saw them as sexless beings who could no longer be with women or have children, there wouldn't necessarily be much emphasis on reports of their love lives. The Kizlar Agha would eventually be dismissed in their older age and eventually replaced. The newly retired Kizlar Agha would move and join the other retired Kizlar Agha in Cairo, Egypt, and would still maintain political influence in their new position in Cairo, which at the time was operating within the Ottoman Empire's control.